Namo Buddhaya. A king wanted to write down a quote on his sword to not to be too much happy when he wins and to not to be too much sad when he loses. Now this king found out that his mind gets too much obsessed when he wins and his mind gets too much obsessed when he defeats. So he gave this job to write down a quote on his sword to his mentor. So the mentor thought for a while and he simply wrote down these amazing 4 words on his sword. It said, "This too shall pass." I'll repeat it again. This too shall pass. See, when we live in this world, there are worldly conditions that we have to experience in this world. The Buddha named these worldly conditions as 8 worldly conditions, Atta Loka Dhamma. In Dutiya Loka Dhamma Sutta, the Buddha explains this, that because the whole world revolves around 8 worldly conditions. And the 8 worldly conditions revolves around this world. What are these 8 worldly conditions? The Buddha explains that gain and loss is a worldly condition. And praise and blame is a worldly condition. And fame and disgrace is a worldly condition. And pleasure and pain is a worldly condition. So these are the worldly conditions that we go through and we experience in all of our lives. Now the problem is not having to go through these all worldly conditions. The problem behind this is our minds get too much obsessed with these worldly conditions. When we win, our minds get too much attached to it, and we forget that this victory won't last forever. And when we lose and when we defeat, when we fall down, our minds get too much obsessed with that defeat, and we think that this defeat, this sadness, this suffering will last forever. But in reality, all good things come to an end, and as well as all bad things come to an end. Nothing lasts forever. So how can we live by not being attached to this winning and losing, and not being attached to any kind of these worldly conditions? Now, Buddha shows us the way to not to be attached to any kind of these things. The way to do that is to simply understand the nature of all these conditions. What is the nature? The nature of all the worldly conditions is they are subjected to change. Right? When you win, it is subjected to change. When you lose, it is subjected to change. And it is impermanent. Simply, you can remind it to yourself that this too shall pass. Okay? When you hit the rock bottom, when you go through problems, when you go through difficulties in your life, just remember to yourself that this too shall pass. This pain, this suffering too shall pass. And when you win and when you're happy and when everyone cheers for you around you, always remember to yourself that this is not going to last forever. This too shall pass. That is one of my favorite quotes that I read recently. It says, when you win, you are not good as you think you are. And when you lose, you are not bad as you think you are. So when you win, everyone will cheer to you. Everyone will congratulate you. Everyone will say good things about you. But always remember, you are a man. You're a human. You are imperfect. And everything is subjected to change. Now, this does not say that you should not enjoy winning. You should not enjoy victory. You can enjoy victory. You can be happy about it. But simply understand this winning, this victory won't last forever. And when you lose, you have to remember to yourself that you are not bad as you think you are. You can learn from your mistakes, you can learn from your fails, and you can always improve yourself and always think that this is not going to last forever. This pain is not going to last forever. By simply understanding that everything is subjected to change, nothing is permanent in life, will help you to achieve a happier and more fulfilling life by not being attached to any kind of these extremes. When you win, do not be too much attached to it. And when you lose, do not be too much attached to it. Then you will be happy. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome everyone to another video. Today, from this video, I want to share with you few habits and practices that we monks practice in our daily life. And also I want to share with you few my personal practices that I do in my daily life. And I believe these practices and habits can help you to achieve a more happier and a more fulfilling life. Now, have you seen people, those who are doing extraordinary things, that average people wonder and think like, how on earth that person did that? Some people call it luck, okay? Some people call it they are clever. Some people call that they are very skillful, okay? But I would say the secret behind their achievement is a good set of habits that they have done every single day and they have practiced every single day, and those practices and those habits has become a normal part of their life. And that is why we have to focus our mind on the habits and the practices that we do in our daily life. Because what we do in our daily life, what we think in our daily life makes who we are, makes the character, okay, makes our character. So that is why we have to focus on the good habits and try as much as possible to remove the toxic habits and replace them with a good one. So I believe these habits, these monk habits and personal habits will help you to achieve a more happier and a more fulfilling life. So without any further ado, let's dive into these habits. The first practice is the morning gratitude practice. Now, this is something that we monks practice every single morning. And that is to be thankful for and grateful for everything and every person in our life. So the first thing that I practice is I become thankful for the Buddha in the first step. And also for his teachings, it is called Dhamma, and noble community of monks, that is called the Sangha. So these are the three jewels in my life. So I become thankful for all those three jewels. And also, I genuinely become thankful for my teacher who taught me the Buddha's teachings. And also, I become thankful for my parents and my brother monks and people who offer me foods. Now, as monks, we don't earn money, we don't cook. So people come to the temple and they offer us food. So when we receive the food, we genuinely become thankful for them. And also I become thankful for all the people who helps me during the day. For an example, there are so many people who are helping me to create these videos. So every single morning, I become thankful for them. And you can become thankful for them as well. And also you can simply be thankful for everything and every experience and every person in our life. And also remember that you can be thankful for bad people as well, right? People who gave you tough times. Why should we become thankful for bad people and the rude people who gave us tough times to our life? Because those are the people who gave us ability to practice the patience and the mental strength, right? Without them, our life would be less interesting, okay? The more we face challenges, the more we face tough times, there's a story for us to tell. So we can be simply thankful for them as well for making our life story more interesting. In that way, you can practice this gratitude practice every single morning. When you practice the gratefulness and when you simply become thankful for everything and every person in your life, you start to feel the value of your life. Because sometimes we forget that we have a value in our life and think like, oh, my life is miserable. My life is worthless. My life has no value. But if you really think about it, if you really focus about it, our life is more valuable. And the first practice is that to practice the morning gratitude. The second practice that I want to share with you today is the morning meditation. Morning meditation is one of the most important practices that we do in our monk's life, right? Why meditate in the morning especially? Morning is one of the best times to meditate because your mind is so calm and peaceful in that time. And also your surrounding is calm and peaceful at that time. Okay, so morning meditations give you a refreshed start to your day. So as morning meditations, normally we monks practice, first of all, the love and kindness meditation, and some monks practice mindfulness meditation, breathing meditation, and a lot of meditations. So it depends on your choice what to practice and what not to practice. So morning meditation is one of the best practices and best things that you can do to start your day with a fresh start. The third practice is journaling. Now, this is something that I do every single day to have a good review on the day, right? What I did during the day and what I forgot to do. And also, I take time to write down all the good things and all the good deeds that I did and simply be happy about it. And also, finally, you can leave some space to write down all the things that you are grateful for in your life. When you write down all the things that you're grateful in your life, and if you do it every single day, it becomes a habit to remember all the good things in your life, all the valuable things in your life, and you will feel much more valuable about your life. So journaling is one of the habits that you can add to your life to make your life more happier and more fulfilling. And the fourth practice is mindful eating. Now, this is one practice that we monks do almost every single day. Normally, as monks, we all only have 2 meals per day. And in some monasteries, some monks have only 1 meal per day. So while we are having our meals, we become mindful and we focus our mind on the food that we are taking, right? So the first step is to recall and reflect on the purpose of eating. Now, what is the purpose of eating? As a monk, we have our food as a help for our health and as a help for our spiritual journey. So when you recall that, you know that you're having your meals with a purpose. And also, the next step is to be more mindful and focus our mind on eating. You can focus your mind on the texture of the food and the taste of the food and the warmth of the food and simply be aware of it while having the meals. Now, while you're having these meals, the surrounding, and when everyone is having that meal in the same way, the surrounding is very quiet and calm as the monastery's dining hall. One interesting about the monastery's dining hall is the monastery's dining hall is very calm and quiet while the monks are having the meals because they simply become mindful about their food. So mindful eating is one practice that you can do in your life. And if you're having a busy life, right, if you don't have some time to meditate, a separate time to meditate, you can practice this mindful eating practice as a meditation. So if you want to know how to practice this, you can watch this video right here that I have done a separate video to how to meditate in a busy life. Check that as well. So this mindful practice is one of the good practices that you can do in your daily life. The fifth and the final practice that I want to share with you today is planning the day. Now, why should we plan the day? Because most of the time we spend our day in autopilot mode, right? We always think, what should we do next? Sometimes we wonder what we are going to do, what we are going to do next. And sometimes we do the things that we don't want to do, and we don't give that priority to the important things in our life, and we miss to do all those important things. And that is why it is really important to plan your day before you start. So every single day before you're going to bed, you can take a book or whatever that you use to note down, right? And plan your day and prioritize the most important things that you should do and you should focus on during the day, and try to do that most important task during the day in the first place, right? Try as much as possible to do the most important and the most difficult task during the day in the first place. Why should you do this? Because after doing that, you have that mental freedom, right? Mental clarity to do and focus on other things that values to your life. So every single night, before starting every single day, plan your day and start the day. Don't step into the day without planning. Then your day will be planned and you will have much good time, and you can allocate a good time to have a mental freedom and to practice meditations and spirituality. Now, so many people complain about, oh, we don't have time to meditate, we don't have time to read a book because we are so busy. No, everyone is not busy, because everyone has got 24 hours. We all have got 24 hours. Even the busy people, not busy people, organized people, well-organized people, and not organized people, unorganized people, we all have 24 hours. It is all about how we organize our day, how we plan our day. So it is really important to plan your day and work on that plan. And then you can have more free and a happier day. So these are the few practices that I do personally and we monks do in our monk's life that can add to your life. I think some of the practices you're also doing all those things. But if you're not doing this, add them to your life, and then you will start to feel that your life is more lighter, more happier, and more fulfilling. So I wish you all a healthy and a happier life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. No matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, there are certain times in life we are going to make mistakes. We are going to mess things up in life. In such times, one of the most common things that we do is we hate ourselves. And this self-hatred can end up in serious situations like suicide. See how many times we say, I love you to someone. How often we say, we say it often, right? But how often we say, I love myself. I appreciate who I am. This is something that we don't do oftenly. See, in Buddhist practice, the first step of spreading love and kindness is to practice love and kindness, or spread love and kindness to yourself. So the Buddha saw that without being filled with self-love and self-kindness, you cannot be kind to someone else. So that is why we have to learn how to be kind and how to love ourselves without hating ourselves. So from this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a few things that we have to understand and we have to practice to stop hating ourselves and to start appreciating and loving our life. Number 1, do not believe in labels. See, there are lots of labels that we have put on ourselves. For an example, your name. Your name is a label that was given by maybe your parents, and everyone start to call from that name, and it became your personality. It became who you are. Okay? Same like that, we are so good at labeling ourselves with our imperfections, with our mistakes, or with our incapabilities. But here's the thing, the more we label ourselves with our incapabilities, for an example, people say to themselves like, I am a person who is being angry all the time. Okay, I'm a person who has having a weak mindset. I'm a person who is lazy all the time. Okay, I don't have any friends. I'm not getting in with friends. Okay, I cannot be with these people. So the more you label like that yourself, it becomes your personality. And that is why we should not believe in the labels that we put on ourselves. Why? Because a label, or your incapabilities, or your weaknesses, or your mistakes are just a thought pattern. And it is always can be changed. Okay? You can always improve. And that is why we should not label ourselves with our incapabilities and our mistakes or from our weaknesses. We always have the chance to improve and to evolve. Number 2, learn to accept mistakes. Mistakes are the proof that says that we are trying in life and we are not willing to give up on ourselves. Every great person in this world has made mistakes, and they have learned from their mistakes, and that is how they evolved, and that is how they achieved the greatness. Always remember, the mistakes will never define your character unless you define your character with your mistakes. So do not let your mistakes to define your character. Always you have the chance to improve and move on and make yourself a good person and improve yourself. Believe in it. Number 3, stop criticism. This is something that is very important that we have to focus on in loving ourselves. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop criticizing others. Now here I'm not talking about the constructive criticism. I'm talking about the negative criticism, okay? Do not criticize others and also do not criticize yourself, okay? Why we should not criticize others to put others down? In each and every time when we criticize someone, we give the message to our mind that we are better than them, okay? I am perfect than them. And you set standards to yourself. Most of the time, these are not realistic standards, okay? And when we cannot live up to our own standards, what happens to us? We hate ourselves. And that is how criticism steals the self-love and the self-value. And that is why we should not criticize anyone. And number 4, believe that imperfection is beautiful. Just take a deep breath and look into this nature. Everything has that one nature that is the imperfection. From the little plant to the great mountain, everything is imperfect, right? There is no perfectly symmetrical plant in this world. There is no perfectly symmetrical mountain in this world. Everything has the imperfection. And as humans, we also imperfect human beings, okay? And also it gives the chance for us to evolve. It gives the chance for us to be more productive and be more successful. See, becoming successful and becoming happy is not a destination. It is not a perfection, right? It is always a journey. We have to keep improving ourselves. We have to keep becoming successful, becoming happy. It is a journey that we go through in this life. So when you accept the imperfections, no matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, no matter how great we are, there will be always imperfections in life. When we accept it, we can focus our kindness and our love towards ourselves. And also, every single day, this is something that you can practice. When you wake up in the morning, just sit on the bed and think, no matter how imperfect I am, no matter what mistake that I do in my life, I'm not going to give up on myself, right? I keep improving myself. I keep making myself a good person, a happier person, and I will never let go of myself. This is not something that is called selfishness. Selfishness is expecting many unrealistic things from yourself. Right? And then when you're not up to your standards, you start to hate yourself. And that is why when you truly love yourself, truly love your imperfections, and truly love who you are and accept who you are, you get the chance to improve and you get the chance to evolve. And these are the things that we have to keep in mind in order to practice the self-love and improve the self-value. So keep practicing these things and make your life happier and healthier. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to today's video. What should we do when we have been criticized? Now, no matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, okay, no matter how skillful we are, we've been criticized and we all will be criticized even in the future, Okay, no matter how good things that you do to this society, there are people who are not agree with you, who will see you as someone who is like a bad person. So it's okay to be like that. It's okay for people to not to understand you. So how can we deal with this criticism? Now, when it comes to criticism, there are two types, right? The first type of criticism is the constructive criticism. That means if someone is criticizing you to improve yourself, to make yourself more successful, okay? For someone who is looking for your happiness and for your successfulness, may criticize you for the good, okay? But there is the other type of criticism, and that is the negative criticism. Okay, people sometimes when they cannot understand you, people when they are jealous of you, they may criticize you to put you down. So, how can we deal with it? Now, I found this wonderful story in Buddhism that teaches you something about criticism. In the past, in the Buddhist time, a group of people went to a monastery and they wanted to meet some monks. So, first of all, they went to a monk, and he was living kind of a silent and very secluded life. He didn't prefer to talk much. So, they went to him and they met with him and asked to preach some teachings in Buddhism. But this monk was so silent, so he used to stay silent, maybe talk a few words, and didn't give much information, right? So they start to criticize that monk, saying like, this monk is staying silent, why he doesn't know anything, right? So they start to criticize, and they went to the other monk to meet, and that monk had a good idea and good way of explanations, and he knew about very deep teachings of Buddhism, and that monk explained very deep and profound teachings in Buddhism. So they could not understand that. Then what they did was they started to criticize, oh, he teaches very complex things and we cannot understand anything. Teach us something simple, right? So they criticized that monk as well. Then they went to the next monk, and he was using very simple ideas and very simple ways of explanation to them. And he was explaining the Buddhism in a more simpler way, right? Then that group of people start to criticize that monk as well. Oh, he's being always simple and superficial and using these simple things we all can understand. Teach us something complex and teach us something deep. Now, all these three monks was confused, like, why do they do like this? So they went to meet the Buddha. These three monks went to meet the Buddha and informed this incident. Then the Buddha said, no matter you stay silent, no matter you teach complex stuff or like profound stuff, or no matter you use simple words to speak, you will always be criticized by people. That's the nature of this world. No one has never been criticized in this world. Okay? So that is why we have to understand criticism is something that we all face in all of our lives. One thing that you have to be okay with is that for people to not to understand you. Okay? Not every person can understand you. Not every person can comprehend that what you are doing. As long as you're doing good, as long as you're doing something helpful for yourself and others, then keep on doing it, whether you've been criticized or not. So that is what we have to have. That is the view that we have to have on the criticism. If you're doing something good, keep on doing it. Do not ever stop being a good person and doing good because of people who cannot understand you. Keep that in your mind. Namo Buddhaya.